Before I start, I would like to make two general disclaimers. The first one is, oh, I don't have any light, but that's not it. The first one is that I am not trying to diagnose myself with anything. Um, I'm just looking at patterns as I'm developing myself. I can look back and kind of judge myself from kind of a neutral area. Uh, for the longest time, I just thought that was me. That's my personality. But now I'm seeing, well, those are some issues that I'm still dealing with today. And one of those is perhaps autism. But like I said, I'm not a psychologist and I'm not trying to offend anybody by saying that. Uh, but there's almost in every social situation outside of sports and activities that kind of make the introduction for you, I don't know what to do. And I've never known what to do. If it's playing, if it's art in any of its forms, or athletics, I can just do the action and then conversation naturally happens, right? But ever since I was a kid, I remember. Anyways, so that's the first disclaimer. The second disclaimer, maybe I already put it. I'm not trying to offend anybody by making these statements, and I'm actually trying to maybe help people that can relate in some ways. And a part of that, this whole video is going to be raw and unfiltered. So there might be some points that resonate more, but if you stick through it, there's some kernels, hopefully, of truth in it or resonation with some people. If that resonates with you so far, then this might be the video. Count how many times I say resonate. I'm really nervous because I'm talking about myself, and I never feel like I deserve to be the subject of the conversation. Ever since I was a kid, I remember being labeled as the shy, mature kid around certain audiences, around adults, and around people I felt like I should be. But around my classmates, I sought attention with no outside the rules. I tried to be the class clown. I would throw Cheetos across the class. Some reason the teachers liked me. I feel like I played both sides very well. I was very sneaky. I can do things. And so the teachers liked me, but every now and then I got caught, but it was okay because in general, what they saw, 90%, I was a good kid and I made good grades. But behind them, I would say the worst things. I've been every category of person, which is why I kind of label myself as a chameleon. I've been the bully. I've been the bullied. I've been the guy that treats objects like women, man. That's a Lebowski reference. I've been or attempted to be this machismo kind of personality, and it was always masked. It was always changing to my environment, what I thought people would respect or what people would like for a laugh or, like I said, for respect. And very rarely have I ever been what I feel like authentic until maybe recently. I'm kind of shedding some of those layers, and it's a process. I was in the military. I've talked about in a recent video, and I did avionics. Not that it matters, but it's a skill-based job, and you go to a year of training before you go to your final place. And I was in Japan, right? I go to a place with no friends. And when I first got there, I was a certain category of person, what I thought they wanted me to be. I was Majime no Hito in Japanese. I was the guy that was always on time. I was the guy that was cared so much about the wiring diagram. Appeared that I cared so much about my job. Really, I didn't really connect with my job. But I was on the outside. I was the guy that would probably get promoted pretty fast, right? Around certain people, around what became my friends, I was another type of person. I still wanted to have that. Hey, I'm the best guy in my, we were categorized, but my specific area of knowledge, I was the best guy in GAC. But Not that I was. But I wanted to be perceived that way. I wanted them to respect me in my job. Also, I wanted them to respect me as playing outside the rules a little bit. With the new guys, so we didn't get I was there for 2 years before we even got a new guy. I was the newest guy, so I felt like I had to fit in all these roles. And like I said earlier, I didn't know how to start conversations. Um, which which made me just put on these different skins even more so because I didn't connect on that level. On a conversational level, it was more, here's my character, accept me for who I am. Please. I'm begging you. Um, I don't know if anybody can relate to that. If so, please let me know because sometimes I feel like I just want to be accepted for whatever mask I'm putting on at the moment and not necessarily, if someone knew the real me, they wouldn't like what they saw. And I feel that even now, I'm trying to overcome that. Like I said, it's layers. To get back to the story, so 2 years go by before any new people start showing up, and then they all start showing up. By then, I was the experienced new guy, so I tried to play it cool, like, hey, yeah, I was training them, so I tried to be the cool trainer. Uh, like, hey, I don't follow the rules here. I can talk to my supervisors however I want, and the ones I knew I could get away with it, I did. And I was even encouraged by other supervisors for putting, these kind of, to use the word again, machismo, these projecting supervisors in their place. Like, no, I didn't say fuck you, but I respectfully disagreed on a lot of things. And I would push the boundaries where they were like, I've been written up. They call it being written up. But I would definitely push the boundaries on that. And it wasn't because I necessarily thought that I should push the boundaries. I was projecting the image of like, hey, you're not going to treat me any kind of way because I wanted to be the cool guy with these guys. As soon as you separated me from the people I was trying to put that image, and you put me in a group of like my supervisors or people I respected, I became the nerdy, let me study the wire diagrams and get to the root of the problem, you know? And looking back on that, that was just a symptom of me not being comfortable in my own skin and being so afraid that people wouldn't like the real me. Who is the real me? And I'm not trying to get super, who is I, right? Who is this? Who is it beneath all these labels and shells and projections of yourself? And that's what I'm trying to discover for myself. Who am I at the deepest level? If that in particular, that question resonates with you, I keep using that word resonates. Count that, how many times I use it if you want. But for lack of a better word, if that resonates with you, then that's what this channel's kind of about, is discovering why we're here, who are we at the deepest level, past all the labels and the layers that life puts on us. Who are we before that? Who are we after that? And how do we navigate life effectively using intuition? And that might be a tangent. If it is a tangent, I'll get back to the story. Autistic chameleon. Not just as a catchy title, that's how I would literally label myself through most of my life, is the not socially adept yet able to read enough into the situation where I knew what I should be. And I played that part well. Outside of knowing what to say in a lot of situations, I played the persona well, the personality well. It is getting dark. I'll probably have to brighten this video up. Like I said, I don't do really any editing in my videos. So if it gets dark, or if it's hard to see, or gets fuzzy, or if you can't hear me properly, just let me know. I'm working on getting a mic for future videos. After the military, during the military, I met my now wife, in Japan. And so I had to come back home while I was working on my visa, because I went back to study in Japan, really to be with my wife. But that was the story I told the people back home, was that I'm going back to Japan to study Japanese because I want to be a translator or an interpreter. Now we have AI, and that job's pretty much blown out of the water in most sects, sects, in most categories. Translation and interpretation was like one of the first ones on the chopping block of AI. But anyways, so that's why I told people before AI took off, and I was there for a couple years studying intensive Japanese language. And once again, in class, I was one person. In front of my wife, I was a different person. And anytime I got together with my friends and my wife at the same time, my wife would be like, "You seem like a different person. I didn't know that about you." And it bothered me. It bothered me because it was scratching at the layers that I couldn't balance both at the same time. I couldn't be two people at the same time for these two opposite ends of my life, right? That were meeting together. She got used to it, and I still, now she knows that's a part of me, right? That I am one way with other people, and dramatically so. I am an only child. Maybe that has something to do with it. I felt like I had to be goody two shoes with my parents, and then outside of my house, if I went to their house, it was a different story. Running wild, running into the woods, building these forts with stolen wood. And I mean, go take it. I don't even want to incriminate myself, but did some crazy stuff, and I was just totally different people. Had a very strict upbringing, so I think that's part of it. Like if I pushed against the rules, my dad would get. I have two fathers. I call them both dads, but I would say my married into dad, my stepfather, he was very strict with the rules. And I'm still trying to shed that insecurity of being a kid and having a grown, scary man in your face spitting. It's an image that's just burned in my head. And I know he would hate to hear that, because I think he probably had it worse growing up. His father was a drill sergeant. So I got the drill sergeant treatment at home, and I was one person. At school, I was a totally different person, like I said. And it was just to be cool. It was scratching that itch that I couldn't scratch in the house, because I feel like I couldn't be my authentic self at home because there's so many rules and so many regulations. And I'm not like a time by the minute kind of person, but I had to play that part. If you've ever had to play parts in your own life and that speaks to you, whether it's from a military upbringing, but that's not really you, or that's not your path, you're the opposite. You like to play color outside the lines. You don't pull yourself up by your bootstraps, is the popular saying. And it's like, well, sometimes it's okay to not pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You can just self-reflect and find the answer inside yourself, and not some regiment, and not these rules, and the hanger's got to face to the left side, because that's how you hang your clothes, button up. Some people might not get that reference. I am Air Force. Some people might understand that reference even more. As a Marine, I'm sure it's even more drilled into you. You old devil dogs. But it's just a process of finding yourself. And whether an autistic chameleon best describes you, it's just a label. It's just a label, man. And I'm finding this more and more out as I get older. These labels and these things that you tell yourself, these stories, they're all just stories and labels, and they don't mean anything. The only thing that means anything is who you are at your core. And I've talked about how I am going about finding that out. But if I had to summarize this whole video, and I haven't, I might butcher this. So make your own summary if I do a terrible job at this. But if I had to summarize this whole video into just a couple sentences, it would be authenticity above all else. And it's never too late to start realizing that authenticity. I feel like, and I have to tell myself, I feel like a lot. It's too late, man. You're in your 30s now and you still haven't figured it out, dude. Hopefully this reaches you sooner and it connects in a way where you can start that journey sooner if you have these same hangups. This video is just, in a way, a love letter to myself. You know, maybe I could be the only one that watches this, and that's okay. It's a vlog diary of my life and some issues that I didn't even realize was issues, or wasn't even cognizant that I was putting on such a mask, such an identity disorder, maybe, if that's the term that I should use. But who am I? Who am I? Should I be home right now? Probably. I just got off work, but I felt like I had to speak to something deeper inside of me. But I probably should be home helping with dinner right now. Like, am I being a terrible person? I will go home and help with dinner. I'm still a little early, but should I be spending time with the family I have waiting on me? Yes, of course. Should I also nurture myself in these moments that I have? Or self-discover for what that is worth? And I think it's worth a lot. That's why I'm trying, you know? Yes, I believe so. I could just name off so many instances in my life where I have not been my authentic self, and it always comes back around to bite me in one way or another, and I'm just realizing what is biting me, what has been biting me this whole time. And in many ways, it's myself that comes back to bite me. It's like, why did I do that? Why did I say that? Why did I put on that front? Or, wow, I got caught. It's almost like a lie, and there's a thrill to it, right? Oh, they thought I was so cool. No, they don't even know who you are, man. Who cares if they thought that version, I don't even want to say version of you. Who cares if they thought if that mask was cool? That's not you. If they don't think your real mask is cool, then that's their journey, right? You're on your journey. Keep your real mask on for as much as possible. Or at least let the mask not be a totally hide all your features. People will love your rough edges and your smoothness, wherever it might be. You got to find those people, keep those people. That's your tribe, to use a modern term, as it's modernly used. Anyways, I hope that hit home. If not, then it's me, you know. I love you guys, and I mean that. See you next video.